There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth, as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 guys. So glad you guys are here. And hello to our cyber community. Want to say welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living this morning. You could have chosen to be elsewhere, and we're thankful and grateful that you have chosen to be with us this morning. So I'm reading our vision statement here for CSL Midtown. We are a strong, open, globally connected community centered on the clarity of principle. Through teaching, service, and practice, we create a safe and respectful environment that supports healthy spiritual growth. So we've got a wonderful guest speaker that will be with us. I say guest speaker, but she is really like part of our family, Reverend Susan Zoller, and we're certainly always glad to know what she is. She's kind of like a futuristic thinker and advanced thinker, so you're in for a good message this morning. I'd like to do the declaration of principle. I believe in one God. First cause of all things, I believe that this power is perfect love, and it creates out of a desire to express love. I believe all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience. I believe in the unity of all mortality of the individual soul forever unfolding. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of God to all. So please bear with us. We are having a bit of technical difficulties, but what is technology without some technical difficulties? So our theme this morning, the messaging is around as a man thinketh, so is he. That was one of my favorite books that I found when I came to the classes here for it was the Science of Mind at that time, but of course now Center for Spiritual Living. And one of the ways that I was able to change the way that I was thinking was how the universe presented itself in my life. So as a Catholic, it was totally different. So it became where I started thinking differently about the universe, and actually the universe was not even a focus. I grew up as a Catholic, so we always had the divine entity, deity, that was in heaven away from us. and of course our teaching here tell us that we are one with the universe. So it is our thought about the universe that gives us insight on what it is our thought is about ourselves. And it is also the thought about the universe that will determine what the experience that we will have in our life. So in those classes, there were often focus on principles such as love, abundance, peace, care, giving, truth. Again, these are all principles which are qualities of the universe. So a thought of peace about the universe says that I am peace because I am one with the universe. A thought of love about the universe says that I am love because I am one with the universe. A thought of abundance about the universe says that I am abundance as I am one with the universe. So it is always good to know what your thought is about the universe. And this is different than your thought is about the world. We all have different thoughts about the world. But the universe is constant. The universe is of its own. The universe does not change. It is stable, consistent. It is the oneness from which all things are made. Before I go into the treatment, I do want to just say thank you to Vance Blue. He is our board president, and the leadership team and the job that they have been doing. We are continuing to develop and do the things that home office is asking us in order for us to prepare ourselves for a spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Midtown. And all of you out there, our cyber members, friends, everyone here, we certainly do appreciate your support. Without you, we could not have come this far. So it's been over a year and we have been able to govern ourselves. So I want you to simply pat yourself on the back for being part of something as great as the Center for Spiritual Living Midtown. So I want to do a treatment, and the treatment will be around love. So as we center ourselves, we come to a place of oneness. We become conscious of the constant contact with God, with the universe, with the infinite, with the magnificent. And as we focus our attention on this oneness, we are aware of the love. And as one with this universe, I am a conduit for the love that flows through me. And in this flow of love, I am healed. And it is this gift, this presence, this energy, this spirit of healing that I offer to all in my presence, to any and everyone in the universe. It is this knowing of who I am that I am grateful and thankful for. And for this, we give thanks. And so it is. So our music will now begin.
thinking makes it so. A person is what they think about all day long. Focus on the beauty, focus on the love. Nothing is unless our thinking makes it so. Abundance is the smiles I encounter on the street. Self-assuredness is in my hands with everyone I meet. I hold the power and it's me. Nothing is unless our thinking makes it so. A person is what they think about all day long. Focus on the beauty, focus on the love. Nothing is unless our thinking makes it so. Gentle feeling when I let things go. Joy is the spirit filling when I allow myself to just know. I hold the power and it flows. Nothing is unless our thinking makes it so. A person is what they think about all day long. Focus on the beauty, focus on the love. Nothing is unless our thinking makes it so.
Message this morning, As a Man Thinketh, is going to be the subject matter for our, I say guest speaker, but again, she's not a guest, but Reverend Susan Zoller. Originally from Louisiana, Susan has lived in Atlanta since '77, with a time out in '95 and '96 to serve as minister of the Center for Spiritual Living in Maui. She taught biology, chemistry, and physics in Gwinnett and Cobb counties. Life changed for Susan when she first attended the Atlanta Church of Religious Science in 1985 and heard Dr. Kennedy Schultz speak. This sparked a lifelong study of the dedication to religious science. She's also a staff member of the SCLA. She lives with her wife of 25 years and their 2 dogs. And this morning, she shared with me, they've got a new one. So please put your hands together and let's welcome Reverend Susan Zoller.
Vince, I just want to know if this is a Geiger counter that's hot. A gracious good morning to you. A gracious good morning to you. When I was a child growing up in Baton Rouge, can we turn this down just a little bit, please? There was a wonderful children's show called Buckskin Bills. And he had a time at the beginning of every show that he had Storyland. And it was my favorite time. A little bit more, please. It was my favorite time of the day. I loved it. And I've always remembered how wonderful it was. So today, we are going to start off with a metaphysical Storyland, if you permit me, and I know you will. It's The Paper Bag Princess by Michael Moracheko. When Elizabeth was a beautiful princess, she had a castle and had expensive princess clothes. She was going to marry a prince named Ronald, but unfortunately a dragon smashed her castle, burned all her clothes with its fiery breath, and then carried off Prince Ronald. Elizabeth decided to chase the dragon and get Ronald back. She looked all over for something to wear, but the only thing she could find was a dirty paper bag. So she put on the paper bag and followed the dragon. He was easy to follow because he left a trail of burned forest and horses' teeth. Now, finally, Elizabeth came to a cave with a large door in it that had a huge knocker on it. And she took hold of the knocker and she banged on the door. And the dragon stuck his nose out and said, "Well, a princess. I love to eat princesses, but I have already had a whole castle today. I'm very busy. Come back tomorrow." And he slammed the door so fast that Elizabeth thought her nose was going to get hit. Well, she banged on the knocker again, and the dragon stuck his head out and said, "Go away. I love princesses to eat, but I've already had an entire castle. Go away." "And wait," shouted Elizabeth. "Is it true you're the smartest and the fastest dragon in the whole world?" "Why, yes," said the dragon. "So is it true that you can burn up 10 forests with your fiery breath?" "Oh, yes," said the dragon. He took a huge, deep breath, and he breathed out so much fire that he burned up 50 forests. "Fantastic," said Elizabeth. And the dragon took another huge burst of breath and breathed out so much fire he burned up 100 forests. Not an environmentalist. "And magnificent," said Elizabeth, and the dragon took another huge breath, but this time nothing came out. The dragon didn't even have enough fire to cook a meatball. Elizabeth said, "Dragon, is it true that you can fly around the world in 10 seconds?" "Why, yes," said the dragon, and he jumped up and flew around the world in just 10 seconds. He was tired when he got back. Elizabeth said, "Fantastic, dragon, do it again, do it again." So the dragon jumped up and flew around the whole world in just 20 seconds. When he got back, he was too tired to talk, and he lay down and went to sleep. Elizabeth walked right up to the dragon, opened the door to the cave, and there was Prince Ronald. But first what she did to get in was she whispered very softly to the dragon, "Dragon." The dragon didn't move at all. She lifted up his dragon's ear and put her head right inside his ear, and she shouted, "Hey, dragon!" The dragon was so tired he didn't even move. So that's when she got in and found Prince Ronald inside. Well, he looked at her and he said, "Boy, are you a mess. You smell like ashes, your hair's all tangled, and you're wearing a dirty old paper bag. Come back when you're dressed like a real princess." "Ronald," said Elizabeth, "your clothes are really pretty and your hair's all neat. You look like a real prince, but you're a bum. They didn't get married after all." And you may be saying to yourself, "What in the world does this have to do with religious science?" And I say unto you, it is a great metaphysical story, even if it's a tish unusual. Because let's think of it like this way. Ernest Holmes wrote in the language of his day, and it can be challenging for us to understand, but we can get the gist of it and the particulars he was trying to say. So in this story, I want you to think of it as Metaphysics 101, is we're going to know that in this story, there is no prejudice or any consideration for anyone to be denied anything based on race, creed, color, sexuality, date of birth, religion, height, weight, whatever. So a prince can be a princess or female. A prince can be a male prince. A prince can be a situation. And the same goes for the princess. It can be a woman. It can be a girl. It can be a man, boy, a situation. And think of the dragon as the situation in particular. And I think of, how the princess kissed the toad and became a prince, but in this case, she didn't kiss the prince and he still turned into a toad. So here's some points I found out about this. Number one, even a princess can have a really crummy day, week, month, year, or lifetime. So in religious science terms, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens. Have you ever heard that? It is not what happens, it's what you do with what happens. Okay? Second point, dragons can ruin your whole day, your house, your hair, and run off with your boyfriend. The prince's perfect life, you and I may have so meticulously planned, can change in just an instant. It can do, as my father would say, blown to hell and back. And but knowing that we are not our material possessions, we're not our physical conditions, our looks, and even our love lives are not who we are, but they can all change in an instant. Religious science thought, we can't control the circumstances of our lives, but don't give away your power. Don't give away. Have you ever heard that one before? If you haven't, you have now. Third thing, princesses can track and trick a dragon, but rather than sitting around mooning, wailing, and gnashing of teeth, you and I can regroup. We can deal with the situation and come out on top, even when it looks like we have lost everything we were working for. Religious science thought. We do not have to trick or play any games. We do need to get smarter. We do need to have a better idea. We need to act on it and change our circumstances through our consciousness. I think that's really good. I'm going to repeat it. We do not have to trick or play games for anything to manifest. We do need to get smarter, have a better idea, act on it, and change our circumstances through the content of our consciousness. Can I get an amen? Thank you. Thank you. I was raised Southern Baptist. Okay, now, fourth point. Dragons of the world can be self-centered, egotistical, thoughtless, inconsiderate monsters, all the while looking good and get away with eating our houses, messing up the environment without regard for anything else but their own pleasure. They can mess relationships up where they have no business. And while they might get away with it for a while, even dragons eventually have to deal with the consequences of their actions. Absolutely. We don't get away. In other words, they deal with their karma, or what goes around comes around. Absolutely. Their egotistical ways will return to them sometimes through the most unexpected and often very embarrassing set of circumstances. And we don't need to make it our business to make sure that they get what's coming to them. That's the universe's job, and the universe, spirit or God as you will, always delivers unfailingly. Would you agree? So, as I was taught by Reverend Dr. Kennedy Schultz, it's not your business to make them pay. Go about your business, and the universe will take care of it. Amen? Okay, so here's the metaphysical truth. Don't be a dragon. Don't be a dragon. Remember, what we hold in consciousness comes back to us as the circumstances of our lives. So again, don't be a dragon. Fifth point. Even a princess can mistake a toad for a prince. Even a princess can mistake a toad for a prince. Princesses throughout history have frequently gotten taken in by froggy, pretty-faced princes. Yes, sometimes over and over, you can kiss a prince only to discover he actually is a toad. So, metaphysical thought. Have the good sense to recognize what doesn't work and call in something that does. Don't marry the same person or situation repeatedly, only with different faces. Don't let a dragon in your life. And certainly don't marry a dragon. Now, here's the point also. We are not victims. Be the princess who outsmarts the dragon and changes her life, his life, their life, the situation, changes our country, changes our politics, changes our health system, whatever it is. Now, point 7, even after getting burned out at home and out of our hearth, appearing in public as a seriously bad hair day victim, and crossing hill and dale to rescue yet another ungrateful, toady prince, we can still turn our thoughts around and change the outcome of a story. We can start making good decisions. Amen. Metaphysical truth. As we think in new thought and say, principle is not bound by precedent. I'm going to say that again, it's really important. Principle, or the spiritual principles, are not bound by precedent. So what happened before, it's the current moment. This is the current moment, and we can change our thinking right this minute and start plotting a new path. It may take a little while. It may not look like it's changing, but you keep your thought change to a better idea, and it will. Yes. 8th point, realization of true toad nature in a previously disguised prince is not a bad thing. In fact, dumping his toady little ass and the rest of him as well out on the street and getting a new, better idea can be a major turning point in our lives. Absolutely. It can be perhaps one of the best things that ever happened to us. Can you imagine? Release of life's previously sanctified toads is indeed a spiritual revelation. We don't have to keep doing anything because we did it before. Even if we prayed about it and that was what we got, this change in the situation, if that doesn't work, we can just pray again. And you know, when you release a toady little prince, it works. Even if it took 20 princes before, to get to this point, some people never look to see the true nature of what is behind the crown or below it. Others open their eyes and they see a situation for what it is and get out and make the best of it. In other words, you got there, you don't have to stay there. As I was taught by Kennedy Schultz, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall not build a condominium there. So, metaphysical thought, we must let go of old ideas and situations before a new one can come in. Until we're finished with the old one, we're not going to go forward. Have you ever been in a relationship and you knew you really didn't need to be there, whatever kind of relationship it was, but you kept getting drawn in over and over? And sometimes the faces and the circumstances changed, but it was still the same story over and over and over again. Anybody ever have that? Oh, come on, the rest of you tell the truth. Now, really, I think we have had those kind of situations. But again, we must let go of the old story, the old situation, the attachment to what was in order to have something in that is new, to experience something greater. 9, Not getting married can be a good thing. Some of us already know that. A royal wedding can also entail marrying a royal pain in the tush. I was going to say ass, but I didn't. Some of the greatest gifts in life come from getting what we think we absolutely not have, from not getting what we think we must absolutely have. If you got everything you thought you wanted, where would you be right now? Would you be here? You know, my childhood goal, as you can see why I like Buckskin Bill, was to go out west and ride with Roy Rogers. My mother was not real fond of that idea, and luckily I grew up and Roy Rogers wasn't available to ride the range with for me anymore. But I had him on television and could watch. You know, we live most successfully when we marry a prince of an idea, a royal idea, and not try to specify what that prince looks like, where they come from, or how it reveals itself. We can try and say, I want to marry Prince Ronald. I want to have pretty clothes, a big castle, and all the dragons banished to Alabama. But what does that say about us? What are we trying to do? Control things? And you may get what you asked for, and then you got to deal with it. And it may not be pretty. And you know, sometimes we look back and we think, I wish I had glasses where I could look through them and I could see beyond the appearance and tell who's a toad, who's a dragon in disguise. And this may happen over and over again and astound the people who have kept offering us their glasses to see what was really going on. Have you ever had a friend tell you something and you didn't want to hear it, so you totally disregarded it? No. Oh, come on. I had friends tell me, look, Susan, please, look at this. But I was just too attached to whatever it was to be able to change. But I will tell you, glasses, LASIK surgery, and even cataract removal is a small price to pay. It is a cheaper price to pay, and it is faster than divorce from a bad idea that's really taken hold of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say it again because it's important. Glasses, LASIK surgery, and contacts are still cheaper than trying to let go or divorce a bad idea that we're really attached to. Have you ever been attached to an idea and you knew it wasn't what you really wanted to do, but boy, did it feel good in the moment? No, okay. You know, the metaphysical truth here. Ask yourself 3 questions to deal with anything that comes up. Number 1, is this something I really want to do? Okay, so you'd like to go eat a dozen pecan pies this afternoon. Yeah, I'd really like that. 2, is it in keeping with my goals? Well, if your goals are to be fat, diabetic, unhealthy, and need to see a dentist a whole lot, go ahead. It's not my goal to eat a dozen pecan pies or chocolate or whatever else it may be, no matter how tempting it is. And the third thing is, does doing what I want to do at the moment harm any other living being? 3 guides I think are very important. Number 1, do I really want to do it? Number 2, is it in keeping with my goals? And number 3, does it bring harm to any living person? And if the answer is no to any one of those, it's time for a divorce. Ronald just isn't who you thought he was. Point number 10. Toads are actually cheap commodities, and they're often very, very plentiful. Have you noticed? Spring is a good time to notice that. True princesses are not cheap, and they are actually plentiful when they make up their minds to be. I'm going to say that again. Toads are cheap, and they're very successful in reproducing, shall we say, and yet they're the princesses that go in with the toads. But on the other hand, they're princesses who say, looks like a toad to me, I'm getting out of here. And there are as many princesses in the world as decide to be one, to take their power. You know, some of these princesses may have ash on their face, wear dirty clothes, maybe a paper bag, and smell like smoke. Remember, it's easy to have a shower, take a spa day, change clothes, and put on cologne. And after that quick spa experience in the bathroom, the princess is at the ball, well away from the toads who will still be out there eating flies. We can change what we look like in an instant. You can cut your hair, dye your hair, cut off all your hair. You can wear different clothes, change your attitude. But the truth of it is, if you don't change what's inside, what's outside is not going to change. If you're still hung up on Ronald, when you go over there and you've cleaned up, he's going to say, okay, let's get married. And I hope that that princess, whoever that princess is, says, I don't think so. Because she recognizes a toad. And the metaphysical truth here is when we live from our highest ideals, Spirit returns them to us as the circumstances of our life. I'm going to say that again. When we live from our highest ideals, it doesn't matter if our clothes are dirty, we can wash them. But what happens is the ideals that we hold true and we hold in our hearts come back to us as the circumstances of our lives through our experiences. Just notice and think back on your own life if that's not true. Often right before our eyes is a real prince who is passed over because we keep messing around with the same old toady, pretty face prince. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that represents for you, that prince is right there, and we just go, I don't think so. Now, right now, the world looks as if it is filled with toads, doesn't it? There are people who are bemoaning all the toads of the world right now and the toady situations all over this planet. The prince or princess of an idea may have seemed worthy of a crown, but it turned out that prince or princess wasn't a good idea. Like you just won $1 million. If you'll just give us your bank account numbers, I'm a prince in Ethiopia. Sounds good. Dadgum. You know, like thinking our country is invisible and to the woes of the world, and we are invincible. We are exempt from the issues of the real world, and like what we say, do, and think doesn't matter. But oh ho ho, it matters. What we think, what we do, what we feel, what we believe matters. And that's gotten the world where it is today. If you don't like the toads of the world, be part of the change. You know, what we as individuals and society have accepted just isn't right necessarily. And here it is in 2025, we got all these toads around, and I ask you, are you eating toad in your castle today? Just check around and see. Look around. Let yourself feel. Does this feel right? Does this feel good? Is this what I want to experience? Is this what I want the world to be like? The results of my actions and beliefs? Don't eat toad if you don't have to. And guess what? You don't have to. Yes, there is conflict in a lot of the world. There are those who hate us and declare it their life mission to kill us, to destroy us, to hurt us. Yes, our economy is, let us call it euphemistically, a little shaky right now. Shall we say? This or that is going on in my life. Whatever it is, you know, if it's a bad marriage, it's a health diagnosis, if it's whatever, You know, kids out of control, sex, drugs, and rock and roll, or for some of us, the lack of sex, drug, and rock and roll, you know, can feel like this is just not right. How can we deal in a spiritual manner with situations where the light seems to have gone out? Where it seems like, I don't know how this is ever going to change. It's going to hell in a handbasket. What are we doing when we pray and it doesn't seem like the answers are coming? And I've had times that it felt like that. And I will tell you, I've said things like, where are you right now, God? Where have you been lately? And please know you are hearing from a person who on more than one occasion has said things that included expletives to God and using God's name so God would make sure to know who I was talking to. Amen. I had times like that. You know, why hast thou forsaken me? I'm working to change my whole life to be the best person I can be. And this is what's going on around me. You know, we have to take our attention away from what is in this physical world and go to the place that makes the facts of the physical world. And sometimes in doing that, it's like you have a glass of water and there's mud at the bottom of it, and you start pouring in clean water. Everything can get really cloudy and murky, but when that dirty water flows out, it's clean. So if that's happening for you, don't fail and give up. But even if you do give up, you have a chance the next moment to change your mind again. Because the only time is now. You know, and what I learned was in all things, give thanks. Learn spiritual principles, not just anybody's dogma. Take a class. Watch something online. Read a great book. Talk to somebody who inspires you. I would say learn religious science principles because they helped me change my life. And I know a lot of people who could say the same thing. Be grateful, not for all things, but in all things. If the world is falling down, if the roof starts leaking and crumbling down on us, give thanks you got legs to walk out the door. Whatever it is, find something to be thankful for, because what we hold in our consciousness comes back to us. And that thankfulness, that remembering, I am never alone. I have the power of the universe behind me. I am a divine creature of the Most High. Will create the circumstances in our life that the roof isn't falling in. It will not be falling in when we go and hold on to those principles. You know, I can say that I have struggled with a lot of things, with a serious eating disorder. Suffice it to say, I wasn't thankful for that. When I was diagnosed with cancer in the middle of moving to Maui, I wasn't thankful for that. No, when my best friend died at 29 years old and it broke my heart, it felt like, I wasn't thankful for that. But I could find something to be thankful for. I am thankful for going to a center that taught me spiritual principles, and without entering treatment, I left an eating disorder behind. Amen. That's right. Now, my best friend died. I just kept telling myself how wonderful it was to have had her in my life for all that time. They have made such wonderful memories in my life, those experiences. I was thankful for those, even when I was crying. And I did cry. When yet another relationship or friendship turned sour, didn't go the way I wanted, I wasn't thankful for that. But what I learned was If I hold on to the old stuff, I'm not getting the new stuff. And maybe my consciousness has come up to a higher level and they just don't match with my life anymore. Don't try to hold on to what is not ours. Let us let it go and welcome in what is ours by right of consciousness that is greater and higher idea that gives us a greater and higher experience. Most of all, I am so grateful for having learned about science of mind or religious science. And I learned that no matter what, God or spirit or universe or wherever you call this, the infinite mind, has and is always with us. Absolutely. Knowing our true nature, we can participate in life with a whole different experience. We can change the world by changing our thought, and we have to do it, each and every one of us, for this to happen. And we may think, I'm just one person, but you know what? It matters. Think of the one person in your life who, when you were so down about something, came in and said the right thing to you or offered you a better opportunity. Spirit is always there and always supporting us. It is always saying yes. We just have to be careful what we're calling in. A prince, a toad, a dragon, whatever. So if you don't know how to do that, talk to a prayer practitioner, a minister, someone who's gone and studied spiritual principles, even if it's not at this church. In faith, call in the resources that you need. Ask it is given. Knock and the door will open. Spirit always says yes to our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Because you know what? Not one of us in here came here to be a toad, a dragon, a bad prince, or a princess who lets things just go way too far in their lives. We came here to be divine creations of the Most High. Let us live like it. Absolutely. We don't have to put up with the other stuff. You know, we can create heaven on earth. It's possible. And if we use these principles consistently, it's not only probable, it has to be. We've lived from other principles for far too long. We may look like paper bag princesses or behave like a narcissistic prince, but the moment this change occurs is right the moment we choose it. Change your thinking, change your life. Let us know the truth of who we are. It's not just a good idea. It's truth with a capital T. And the next stories will be told about how great we are and the wonderful things we did. We, the faithful who lovingly changed the world. It's possible and it's wonderful. From my heart, namaste, aloha, shalom, blessed be, amen, and if you care to join, and so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Susan. That was an inspiring talk. That was very, very inspiring. So, we have a new minister sacred covenant prayer. And there's some copies in the back if you haven't seen it before. And I'm going to read this. And you can read it with me if you want. There's only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to express spirit, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of spirit as principle. Further, I know my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by God. For it is written, principle is not bound by precedent. It operates according to law and is always available to those who are willing to align themselves with it. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister before me as inspiring spiritual oneness through wisdom, love, and authenticity. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself, for I am inspired to live as love in expression of principle. I am awakening the wisdom within me by clearly communicating the principles of universal truth. I am a conduit of divine love, wisdom, and healing energy, recognizing the inherent wholeness within all beings. I am offering teachings, classes, and mystical studies grounded in spiritual principles to cultivate inner wisdom, personal transformation, and empowered living. I am extending the love, compassion, and transformative power of spirit into the wider community, fostering connections that heal, uplift, and support individuals in their unique journeys. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they will be revealed in a way that will express spirit and serve the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful. God is gracious, and so it is. All right. Thanks, everybody. So now it's time for our time to give. In the back of the room, there's a basket for those of you here in person, or you can scan the QR code to donate online with our spirit, and you can say our affirmation of prosperity with me. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly, and so it is. So next week we're back online, so we're only in here the first Sunday of the month. Every other week we're online, so you can join us on Zoom, we're on YouTube and on Facebook streaming live, and Cynthia Paulson will be our speaker next week, so we'll welcome Cynthia back. She's in Oregon now. She used to be here. We love Cynthia. So every Sunday prior to the service at 10 a.m. is a discussion group. They're going through the entire Science of Mind textbook, which is about this thick. So they're continuing on that. So if you're interested in that, you can join on the Zoom. Go to the website, cslmidtown.org, and join the Zoom conversation there. Judy's in there, Mike's in there. So we've got some good leaders teaching with that too. So now if you would say our affirmation of life. I leave this place now knowing something better than I knew before. I go forth into the world with a heart full of love and a mind full of good sense. I look at the world in a greater way, knowing that I have everything within me, everything I need to create the life I desire. I give thanks for this understanding, and I am grateful for the spirit of life that lives through me, and so it is. Have a great week, everybody, and we're going to start the potluck. For those of you who hung out online, Norma and everybody else, thanks.